It's Friday, September 22nd at 11:08 a.m. Coming at you from Maui, Hawaii, and we are in gate 46.2. It's the gate in the sun. 46 is pushing upward, the determination of the self. This is in the G center, and this is good fortune that may be perceived as the result of serendipity, but derives from effort and dedication. And so second line is the line of the hermit, and so we're going to explore the maturation of gate 46 through the line of the hermit, which the theme within line 2 of gate 46 is the prima donna. The exaltation is fixed, the sun is in exaltation, and so what we have is a difficult and demanding nature that succeeds despite its behavior because of the depths of its talents, the determination to succeed that may offend others. So it's the prima donna, right, is like how you say this energy of right, like everything has to be perfect for me because I'm the only one that can do the thing that I can do. And again, this being a transit and it being locked in exaltation, this is where the inflation of that spirit of the talent kind of comes into play. As a transit, this could manifest as you burning bridges that don't need to be burned. This could manifest as you taking on responsibilities that you don't necessarily need to take on. The transit can manifest as a lot of different not self behaviors because of the excess energy that is felt. So it's important to know if you have gate 46. Like I do not have gate 46, right, in my chart. And so I understand that this whole like determination of the self, this prima donna energy, this pushing upwards for me is not necessarily something for me to make a decision with, right? It's going to help me contextualize everything that's going on in my life, adding a contrasting factor that is not present or is not going to be consistently present, but it's just another factor in there. And so, again, with that being said, it's something that is, we just moved from like a heavy solar plexus transit into the G center transit, and the G is like the thing that holds everything together, right? And so understanding your talents don't necessarily need to be ones that like you ultimately can't rely on your talents alone, right? Like there's, what do they say? It's like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. And this is, one of these pieces in terms of 46, the wisdom that it's bringing us is that good fortune is the result of effort and dedication, not necessarily talent. Now, if the effort and dedication is devoted towards cultivating the talent, that is different than just talent alone. So good reminder in that sense. I should probably do some biomechanics today. All right. Now we're going to move to the earth, which is gate 25. Innocence, the spirit of the self, the perfection of action through uncontrived and spontaneous nature. That's the overall gate. Line 2 is the existentialist, devotion and dedication to the now. Exaltation is the perfection of the intellect through concentration and focus on what is rather than what could be or what has been. The innocence of the self and its protection can only be maintained in the now. So this is just warning against future thought and past thought, in the sense that the only protection is the truth, right? Like you might be like, we're in a shitty spot now, but later on we're going to be in a good spot. But the energy of right now alive is pay attention to the shitty spot that you're in, right? You might miss the opportunity to get to the good spot if you're focused on getting to the good spot and you're not present on where your feet are standing, right? Make sure that the floor beneath you is solid. Now, the detriment is a dedication that can never be free of personal motivation and its attendant projections, a lack of innocence in the now that risks protection through projection. So that's just an even deeper delusion of what I just mentioned, in the sense that the innocence of the self and its protection can only be maintained in the now, and the lack of innocence in the now that risks protection, it lets go of protection by projecting. right? And so this is, again, with everything that we do and learn within human design, it's ultimately here to help us distinguish the difference between our mental and external authority and our own internal authority, right? Because we need both. You can't just have the internal authority, because then you're fucking, you're not in reality, right? Those people that are like fried, did too much acid, and they're just like in this, like, you know what I mean? Not to like talk shit on anybody, but that's kind of what like a just inner authority person would be. And people are just inner authority in the sense where it's like they're completely in their own world. They don't give a damn about other people. And then there is the external authority, which is I'm fully conditioned to other people and what they want to do. Ellie Roots is saying, I'm so lost. Is there something I can look at that will help me know what you're talking about? I have the app, but I don't know much more than that. No worries. I got you. So what I'm talking about is the transits, okay? Let's look at the book right here. So this is the Rave Mandala, right? There's the body graph in the center. And as we progress through the days of the calendar, right, we're going around the Rave Mandala, right? And so the sun spends about 6 days in each one of these gates. You guys see that? It spends about 6 days in each one of those gates, right? And then it goes around like a year, okay? What we have within that, when you're born, right, we calculate your body graph by using the placements of the planets based off of this. So if, Mercury is over here when you're born, and the Venus is here and Mars is here, that's going to show up in your planetary placements. Now, the planetary placements that have the biggest effect on us are, of course, the sun and the earth. And they're always going to appear opposite to each other. See that? So sun is up here, earth is over here. Or sun is over here and earth is over here. Now that's your personality. The first two placements is going to be your sun and your earth gates. That's your personality. So for instance, if you were born today, if the babies that are born today, they're going to have gate 46.2 fixed in exaltation as their sun gate and 25.2 as their earth gate. And so those are going to be very powerful themes, very consistent energies within their life. Now, for the rest of us, this is not the time that we're being born. This is not the first time the light is touching our skin. This is not the first time we're breathing the air of the neutrinos that are moving through us, right? We're not being programmed and fixed by this transit. We're just experiencing the transit. So it's the difference between being born with something and experiencing the energetic weather that determines at birth what is fixed in somebody's chart. Hopefully that helped. And so basically what we're looking at with the transits is we're looking at more external authority stuff, more stuff that isn't necessarily a part of our internal circuitry or in a consistent way. And with the energy that the transit is bringing on us, which again, 46 and 25, these are going to be experiences. These are going to be trends that the majority of society, they're going to fall into the prima donna. They're going to fall into looking into the future, looking into the past. They're going to fall into the detriments or the exaltations of these transits, not knowing, oh, these are transits, right? Because what a lot of people will do is, like last week, there was a transit called Crisis. The sun was in crisis, and then the earth was the sun was in conflict, and the earth was in crisis. And so what we had was like a very heavy emotional wave that were just like very strong. And a lot of people who were unaware that, oh, we're moving through this like very emotionally heavy transit, were like, what's going on? Probably making decisions. Like I think someone mentioned like a bunch of teachers quit their jobs last week. And I replied like, yeah, like half those people are really gonna be upset about that today because we moved transits and now that energy is not present anymore. Right. And so with the energy of the solar plexus in the this last transit, now we're moving into the G center. And so now going from conflict and avoiding conflict and making emotional decisions, now the emphasis is on what's holding it all together. Where is my sense of love? Where is my direction? Where is my sense of self? What is my sense of self? And so the transits, again, are either going to push you off balance if you're unaware of them, or they're going to help you train by pushing you off balance, right? It's like fighting a strong enemy or having a strong training partner is actually a good thing. Like if you have someone that can like beat you up, that means that you can get stronger. If you're always training with someone who is weaker than you, then you don't actually grow, right? Maybe you grow as like a teacher or, something like that. But the idea, especially in like Japanese anime and whatnot, is like you want stronger partners. And there's this energy also of like being the strongest one alive that you can't, you'll never know what defeat feels like. You don't think that there's anyone that's going to be stronger than you. And that's like a huge theme in Japan in terms of strength. Love that. Yes, love that. How about if your G center is undefined? So exactly, it's like a defined G center has love and direction within itself. It doesn't need to go look for it, right? An undefined G center does not have love and direction within itself, but it doesn't mean that it's supposed to go look for it. Having an undefined G means that I let love and direction find me. I'm able to experience different forms of love, different directions in life, different careers, different spirits, but I do not fixate those spirits, those careers, those directions into my life or into my center, because that effectively takes an undefined center and makes it defined, which is like taking an apple and trying to convince yourself that it's an avocado and being like, I'm not going to eat this apple until it's an avocado. And then you die of starvation because you had an apple and you just let it fucking be an apple. So with that, I have an undefined G center, and I'm constantly exploring new and nuanced ways of understanding myself. And the magic of that, right, is that I'm able to allow things to have their cycle with me. Like, for instance, human design. At one point, my main focus in life was Reiki. And then at another point, my main focus in life was music. And right now, the main focus in my life just so happens to be human design. But the minute that the spirit of human design is no longer talking to me, I am going to let it shift. I'm going to let it go. And that's part of what this community is helping me do, and bringing moderators on and just building a community is like, look, I don't always want to be at the helm. I don't always want to be driving. And I think honestly that there might come a time when I'm going to find someone who's a better captain of this ship than I am. Relieve me of some of my duties. Maybe another reflector who like really is good at talking about the transits takes over the show. Maybe for a little bit, maybe for some time. Again, the thing about the Open G is that this is the thing that is able to hold it all together. It's the magnetic monopole. It holds the head, it holds the root, and everything else together. With the undefined G, we do not want to fixate on the one thing that holds it all together. With the undefined G, it's a multitude, and sometimes it's something, and sometimes it's something else. So, like trying to fit love for anything that's not working because I may feel that I may feel the need for it. Yeah, exactly. So this is another virus of the mind, and all of the not self is due to the mind using the external authority as a rationalization to manipulate something going on inside, right? It's the paradigm of the mind that is then saying, oh, that doesn't exist over there, we're not going to look at it, even though that thing exists over there. Or this emotion in here doesn't exist, we're not going to look at it because we're with this person and this person likes this and they don't like that, and we want to be liked by that person, so we're going to ignore this thing that's going on inside of us. And it just sucks. It just sucks to live that way, which is why so many people are waking up to human design, because it's actually giving us tools and mechanisms and a language to fight back against the mind by not necessarily fighting the mind, but strengthening the inner authority, right? So it's like you don't change reality by fighting that reality. You make a new system that makes the old system obsolete. So like, for instance, if your bicep is so strong that you can never uncurl your arm, you don't have to make your bicep less strong. You just have to strengthen the antagonizing muscle. I'm going to strengthen my triceps so that I can learn to relax the biceps. Very rudimentary example, but you guys get what I'm talking about here. So with that being said, the transits that we're moving through, again, these are training partners for us, similar as everybody else. Everybody is unique. Even if you have the same chart as somebody, you're still having a unique experience of life. You still experience being raised by different people, losing your virginity to different people, working for different people. And so everyone is this unique little snowflake, right? But what's so cool about it is that if you have the same chart as me, I can at least relate with you in a way of, oh, did you feel this? Did you feel this gate 46 active? Did you feel the innocence 25? Did you feel that taken away from you or suppressed by the mind? Yeah, I felt that too. Like, for instance, I have what's a good channel to talk about right now? I don't have any channels, but I have the 5, the mundane rhythms that's in the root. Anyone else got the 5 out there? It's right here. I'll show you. Or sorry, that's in the solar plexus. 5. Another little trick for you guys as well, regarding this off. Regarding the transits, is when you go to your chart, right? You go down here, you click transit. See that? Transit. It's going to take you to this. I usually set it for default. By default, it's going to show up like this. So all of the transits are going to be present, right? All of them are present. I usually set it, hit the transit setting, transit for planets. I usually set it so that only the sun, earth, and the moon are on. Because all of these planets take a long time to transit. I don't really care about them as much. They're definitely not as strong as the sun, the moon, and the earth. Those are the closest ones to us. And so, like, this is my chart today based off the transits. So my sacral is defined, my heart is defined, my G center is defined. So, for instance, my mind is going to have an easier time tricking me into my not self by not knowing when enough is enough, looking for love and direction outside of myself, trying to prove myself, because I'll have energy to do these things because by the transits, they're defined. But if we go like this, we hit play, my sacral turns off, some other stuff turns on. This is what life is like as a reflector. In the sense that there's like always so much dynamic going on. And at the epitome of human design, like, it doesn't matter to me whether my centers are open or closed. I don't need to know the difference between where you begin and where I end, right? To me, at this point, I've been in this experiment for 8 years now. Like, none of that mental stuff matters. It's a feeling. It's like, I know where my hands are. I don't need to think about, like, oh, when we're holding hands, where does my hand end and your hand begin? And am I taking on your emotions? And it's not like that for me anymore. I've done enough of this work that it's just like, I just know where my hand is. I can flex my index finger, I can flex the pinky, I can flex the thumb. I don't have to like conceptualize it anymore. It's like when you're driving, it's very conscious, it's hands and feet, it's looking out the windows. And then now it's like I can text and drive. You know what I mean? But anyway, so like I asked if anyone had gate 5. So lover to lover, 5.3 in the sun. I have 5.6 in my north node. And so for me, this whole 5 energy, 5 is this like rhythm and this mundane rhythm. And so for me, it's a dormant gate, right? Because it's in an undefined center. But one of the things that really helps me is when I give myself permission to have these like little mundane rhythms. Like doing the dishes is one of them. Pretty much every day, unless somebody else does the dishes, I go in and I let myself do the dishes. And I understand that it's a how you say, a mundane rhythm that ultimately brings me satisfaction because it's in the sacral, right? I don't have a defined sacral, but I have a dormant gate in there. Now, it doesn't mean that I fixate and I have to have a rhythm that I hit I don't have like a strict morning routine, which for some people that's helpful for them, right? And if they have the 5:15, maybe that is something to explore. But again, it gives us clues in terms of where to look for resonance, right? Because it's like, and it's also, in a way, you don't necessarily need the clues because it's really like your excitement, right? Like for instance, maybe you're in on the water polo team, or you're in the chess club, and then you see somebody on the robotics team carrying around a robot, and you're like, oh, right? It's why, like, for 70% of the people out there, it's like just follow your gut because your gut will just guide you towards the thing that's right for you 100% of the time for 70% of the population. I feel like that scene in Anchorman where he goes 80%, 70% of the time it works every time. He goes, that doesn't make sense. It does make sense. 70% of the time it works. The every time thing is just a confusion, right? Or seeming confusion. But anyway, with this new transit that we're in, again, it's going to be much easier for the mind to attempt to fixate on 25 innocence and fixate on 46 pushing upward. And what I'm telling you to do is notice when your mind wants to do that and consider that that may not be the decision that you need to make, right? That may not necessarily be your decision. That may be the transits, the way that they affect you. And as you learn to do this more, and I know for those of you that human design is new, this may seem very abstract, but really all you got to know is that your strategy and authority will never not work for you. Simple as that. And the better you can get at using your strategy and authority, regardless of who you're with or what transit we're in, the stronger your foundation as a human being will be. Because again, we're working in a very mental world, but we live in a physical world. But very mental society, especially with these things and technology. It's very mental. Like I'm talking to myself right now. If the power goes out, I'm talking to myself. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous. So it's a very mental world, but then how do we come back into the body? And that's been my obsession with human design. And that's why I created things like the sacral calibration, which I'm going to try and tag in here. Sacral calibration. Well, that's the second one. But for generators and non-generators, practice sacral calibration. Practice muscle testing. Practice things that are going to bring you back into your body. Because again, we're working against this mental authority, which will manipulate your innards in order to fit what's going on in the external world. And it's not that we don't want it to do that. We just want to be aware of what it's manipulating, why it's manipulating it, and then using that internal authority to actually harmonize with the external authority, right? Because sometimes there's stuff going on inside me that I'm like, this doesn't fit into the external world. But I'm choosing to be here in this external environment. And so I'm going to suppress this internal thing that's going on right now so I can be here. I'm making the choice to do that, though. I'm not doing that out of conditioning and habituation. Because I could very well be like, oh, I'm feeling something inside right now. I'm just going to listen to this inner authority and I'm just going to leave because this external authority here isn't. So it's like you get to learn how to harmonize the two rather than just blindly following one or the other. Because there's two elements to it. It's like right foot, left foot. You can't walk anywhere if you don't have a left foot or if you don't have a right foot. So anyway, that's going to be it for me. I'm getting a little hungry. My stomach and my internal authority says get some food. I'm going to go get some food. Thank you guys for being here. I'm wondering if there's like any announcements that I want to announce. Not necessarily. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.